Hey, what's going on, gang? Welcome back. If you see my face, then you already know that it's time for yet another episode of Eddie G's Comic Culture. Once again, I'm your host, the one and only Eddie G, here bringing it to you live and in full effect as I always do. This show is still sponsored by the great folks over at Black Apparel, so make sure you check out their website at www.blackapparelblk.com. They got some pretty dope stuff on there. I'm actually picking up a few shirts myself out of that collection because their graphic tees are just absolutely bananas. And I want to have something for the summer at least that I can actually use to show off. But definitely check them out. Shout outs to Kevin C. Wright and thank you for all the contributions you've done for the show. Open time. I'm trying to get. I think I got an eyelash in my eye right now, but also, special shout outs to my Instagram family, Blu-ray Dan, as well as Dennis Knight, the writer out of Pondo Comics, with his cross comic. If you guys are in the New York City area this fall, he's actually going to be appearing at New York Comic Con in the Javits Center sometime in October. As soon as I get the information about his booth location and number, I'll definitely post that up for you guys as well. I just opened up a brand new Facebook page for the show, so just in case you guys are wondering about it, I'm going to be dropping I'll be dropping the title page for that. I'm not too savvy on this link on attaching the links on my own shit, so please don't judge me. But it is what it is. But wow, so it's been a hell of a weekend. Comic Con is definitely wrapped up. We've got a lot of surprises, actually, more so from the DC cinematic side, obviously. So obviously, we actually got some info as far as like the DC cinematic universe's future regarding the films coming up. The one thing I will say, wow, it was different. It was very different as opposed to what recent Comic Cons have been actually. Um, Considering how heavy the presence was with Warner Brothers and the previous administration that were running things back then, and how heavy they were in Comic Con every year. But we all know how that story turned out. So basically, um, oddly enough, like this year's convention, it didn't really cover any kind of major announcements regarding comic books. I know that DC's got some stuff that they made a few announcements for. I'm gonna be looking that up shortly regarding some titles and something tying into the Doom event, the Metal event, if I'm not mistaken. Later on in the at the end of the year, but nothing as far as like major comic book news has been made or announcements have been made throughout the entire weekend. Actually, other than that, the highlight really was just more on the cinematic side as well as the shows. Finally, we do get some news. We're finally getting an animated version of Batman Hush, one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. Hopefully, they haven't given any news regarding casting or who's going to be directing, so on and so forth, which is what I'm really most interested about. And I'm really trying to see. I'm really more interested in the animation style that they're going to go for, because Jim Lee's style, considering, I mean, I'm assuming that they're probably gonna use the current team that they have, that's illustrating their features, like the one that's just done the Death of Superman, which I haven't seen anyways, but I'm honestly on the fence on it. I know I've been hearing some good things, but I'm so over the Death of Superman storyline and Doomsday that at this point I'm really not excited regarding that project. So I will catch it eventually though. But moving forward, it's just not really something I'm looking. I'm actually looking more forward to the Reign of the Superman story arc. I want to see how that plays out. Um, because I mean that's really the only way to do it. I mean that's how they did it with the video game when it came out over 23 years ago, The Death and Return of Superman, which was still a quintessential badass superhero game, possibly for a while until the Arkham series started. I'm just saying, but but more so, just more so. Like I said, the real focus on this year's convention was more on the cinematic side. Um, let's kick it off with a few of the things that we're seeing. Well, we're getting some final, promotions for the DC Universe channel, the streaming service. I do have some information. I believe it's going to be 75 for the whole year, which actually entitles you to not just reading, which is actually I'm looking forward to it now. Now I know exactly why they did the DC the streaming's universe. I think it's actually genius, because now you're actually going to be able to read comic books at as well, streaming them to your device, whether it's your phone or your computer or your laptop, whatever the hell it is, or iPad or a tablet, whatever have you. You'll be able to now read comics regarding any DC characters online, and on top of that, you're gonna have endless access, ultimate access to all of the DC shows and movies, and then the animated films, as well as the cartoons. And I'm really interested in seeing. I'm hoping they keep the Ruby Spears Superman cartoon, because I've really been looking forward to like rewatching that series again, even though it's only one season. But it was definitely one of my favorite childhood memories of Superman. Um, they did show a sneak peek of Titans. Oh, excuse me. Not that that's any regard to to my reaction to what the show looks like, the footage, but they did show some actual footage regarding Titans on the DC streaming channel. No footage, sadly, on Swamp Thing, of course, which sucked. But I'm not really too crazy about what, other than the way Robin looks as far as his costume is concerned. I'm really not impressed. I am gonna give the show a chance when it does come out, but in all honesty, the adult oriented theme for the TV show, like for the Titans, I don't think it really it matches well enough. It's that whole F Batman detail really didn't really do anything for me, as far as shock value is concerned. So I'm really kind of it did put me off, unfortunately, and I was actually excited at one point about the show, considering the production still that they showed of Robin, but then they showed the rest of the cast, which was another disappointment, and no comic accurate costumes whatsoever. It doesn't even look like they even tried to keep it calm. The only thing that they kept, like in general, from it was like the color theme, the color schemes from these from their uniforms, but that's about it. Everything else was just like regular plainclothes kids, while Robin is the only one in an actual costume. So what the hell is going on with that? Like, what, did they just completely shut the budget down for the rest of them, or it made no sense? I just didn't. That was another thing that kind of had me a little miffed. Well, actually had me really miffed at the fact. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they do something down the storyline where they do have actual costumes. They're actual comic accurate uniforms, you know, and it doesn't have to be anything super expensive. At least try to get the look, correct though. But other than that, like I said, it was more of a meh reaction for me when it came down to. My friend actually hated the entire thing. Like, he just did not at all appreciate the trailer. I don't know what happened with him, but like, it just rubbed him off really wrong. Not that I'm trying to make a pun or double entendre or anything like that, but it really just it rubbed him the wrong way, and he wasn't really pleased with what they had to show. So hopefully, like I said, I'm gonna give the show a chance when it airs on the streaming service, but I'm not gonna get my hopes up regarding it. However, Young Justice season 3 Outsiders is looking fantastic, and nothing short of it. That's expected, actually, considering the fanfare behind it, the demand for it. The show is so great, it's so good. I was pissed that they took it off of Netflix, because that was the only avenue I had to watch the show, and they kind of ended it off on a cliffhanger that really didn't work for me. So hopefully this picks up, or it leaves off, and then on. But it looks great. It looks fantastic, and like I said, nothing short of expectations that was shown for Young Justice. Now, regarding the cinematic universe side, now this is the first year we actually get to see. There's no other The only Justice League cast member that was in the con this year was Jason Momoa, because he had to show off. Of course, he was there for the display finally of Aquaman, the first trailer. Um, it looks like a fantastic film. Nothing short of it. Like I said, heavily everything that I expected was shown in that trailer. There was a few things that, like I said, that kind of carried over. That I wasn't too keen on, because it looked like they still kind of carried over from the Snyderverse into this movie, but I'm more than positive that they're gonna rub that out eventually, in the future installments. But for the most part, I really wasn't too, there was those little aspects weren't enough that were completely overshadowed with the gorgeous visuals, the enticing the enticing storyline. Actually, it looks different. It looks absolutely wonderful. It looks beautiful. I am definitely hyped. The Black Manta looks amazing. Black Manta looks absolutely amazing. I was, wow. And then Hopefully, we get to see Orm in his ocean with the Ocean Master helmet on. We didn't get to see that in the trailer, and I'm happy with that as well. Because even though there's been rumors here and there about Aquaman's comic accurate costume being in the movie, I don't. I'd rather that let that be. I would rather that be like a surprise. As far as his Atlantean armor is concerned, his classic traditional Atlantean armor is concerned. So with that being said, if that's the case, I'd rather they keep that and Ocean Master's helmet like out of the camera's view for a while, so we could get like so it could be a visual surprise. Like it'll be a visual treat for us, but it's an absolute surprise, even though it's kind of expected, regardless. But I think it's gonna be a great film. It looks awesome. Definitely following the footsteps of Wonder Woman as far as straying away from the current, from the previous universe, straying away from the tonal direction of what that was, and and it's just keeping it more along the lines of that direct about the characters, and keeping close to the source material, recognizing what these characters are, and it looks fantastic. I can't believe that it's happening. So that's gonna be the first of one. And now, as much as I love Aquaman, the one feature, the movie that I'm really most excited for out of the DCCU, Shazam, and me and my father are actually at odds ends at this, because he feels like he's gonna try to give the movie a chance, but it's not the Shazam, it's not the Captain Marvel that he recognizes and knows from back in from his time. So with that being said, I was floored with the way Shazam presented itself, the way the movie looks, the way the movie's dialogue is carried out. Everything about this movie looks A+ solid. It looks fantastic. Zachary Levi, I knew he was going to bring it, and he brought it. I'm calling it right now. I believe he's going to be one of the most comic accurate characters of all time. He's going to go down in history as one of them, because just the way it's going to happen. I could see it. It looks amazing. The presence to me, Shazam's presence at the con was much more felt than Aquaman's, in that sense, because of what it was. Because it was, we all knew that Aquaman was going to be different. We all knew. We just didn't know what to expect, how to, as far as like how is it going to look, and because of recent changes as of last year regarding the studio heads. Obviously we all know that this is just pretty much the fallout, and that's basically what these movies are. These movies are pretty much coming out of the fallout of Justice League, what didn't work and what did work. So unfortunately, sadly enough, there was no Henry Cavill this year, so there was no mention whatsoever of a Man of Steel sequel, which is terrible to me. Terrible, heartbreaking, terrible, because if there's anybody who deserves the chance out of that entire universe, out of that entire cast, it's Henry. I believe he deserves it more than anyone else, because he dedicated himself, he committed himself to being something different. He wasn't trying to model himself after previous incarnations. He went to the source material to bring something to the big screen special for us, and he even fought with apparently that was rumor circulated that he clashed with Zack Snyder on set regarding his visual portrayal of Superman and how it should have been done correctly, because obviously there was a contrast between the comic books and what you saw on screen, obviously. So with that being said, I really think that, especially now that's going to happen, I'm pretty sure he's going to blow up after Mission Impossible Fallout, aptly titled, by the way. But if there's anyone who really, I think it's saddening enough to not have any confirmation about a Superman sequel. I think we all deserve that, of all things. And but at least there wasn't any mention of Batman. Even though we were hoping to get some kind of clarification on these rumors, because so far those are the two things that have been circulating around. I mean, I'm assuming that at some point there's going to be some sort of announcement regarding both of these films, whether Ben Affleck is going to stay or he's going to go, or whether we're going to get a sequel or not to Man of Steel, or are they going to recast and do another Superman film again. And I just want to see a proper DCCU brought to life. Marvel sat this one out this year because let's face it, Marvel has dominated out of the gate since New Year's. Let's be real. Marvel has 2018 was Marvel's year. 2018 was Marvel's year as far as their features were concerned, from Black Panther to Infinity War to Ant-Man and the Wasp. And that's not even including, the other distributed films such as Deadpool 2 and but Marvel as a brand in itself actually prospered very well on the cinematic side of town. Their comic books, they're still in a major slump. They're trying to do that, they're trying to pick themselves up on all. My thing with Marvel Comics is that I think that they've just flooded the market. Personally, in my opinion, I love Marvel, but they flooded the market with so many books and so many titles that nobody, they just pretty much crashed. And at this point, that's why they're in constant reboots, which is why, not that DC hasn't been guilty of it as of recent, but Marvel more so than ever has a longer track record as far as retconning is concerned. So with that being said, their cinematic side has been fantastic. They've been doing great. They sat this convention out, which was pretty strange. But for the most part, they did hit people up with some Thanos posters, so on and so forth. But in the end of the day, I wanted to see something, at least from the DC side, to shine. This was their moment to shine and really correct. They did affirm that there is a course change coming up with both films, Aquaman and Shazam. However, they didn't really clarify anything on their cinematic side as far as Superman and Batman is concerned. There was apparently some footage of Wonder Woman 1984 that was shown, but obviously it's not online, and we're not going to get any of that because I'm pretty sure the copyright issues were pretty strict, and I'm pretty sure they clamped down this year on it. But there was some stuff from Wonder Woman 1984 that was shown that wasn't shown online or released officially to us. So that being said, but Shazam looks fantastic. The vibe I'm getting from it, I love the energy from the movie. I love the energy that's being put out by the cast itself. It looks like a game changer. I think it's really going to be the new face of the DCCU. And it's pretty much and that's pretty upsetting considering the fact. But now it leaves the door open for them to literally right the wrongs with the other characters. Because let's face it, this happened because of the Snyderverse. The Snyderverse did a lot of things wrong. A lot of things wrong, whether you stand with him, whether you like him or not, whether you're with him or against him. Certain things he did that were okay as far as his visuals were concerned, but there was so much more that was limping along the way that it was almost irreverent. He had to go. He had to go. It was just, they were exhausting this man's talent. First of all, it was, I use that word, I'm not going to say anything. But as far as I'm concerned, they were exhausting him behind the lens. So, and plus the tonal direction that he was creating, the universe that he was creating was not well received. Nobody was really caring for it. There was a distaste for it, So, of course, I've gone to a few websites, and I go to cbm.com, comicbookmovie.com, and of course there's some haters on these movies. Some of them, not very few of them, very few from the Marvel side, the MCU side. But the majority of it that I noticed, and a lot of them were like blank profiles. To me, I believe those were the Snyder bots. Those are pretty much just the Snyder stands, the Zack Snyder stands, and hated the fact that they're in a crybaby mode right now. That shit's getting tossed out. Sucks to be you, but he had his chance. He had multiple chances, if I may be correct, and he still mucked it up. So can't really say that I care or feel for his fans at that at that point either, because it is what it is, man. You try to talk to certain people, you try to talk to certain fans, but they're just very some of them are just extremely delusional that no common sense whatsoever can really, and that's just, logic is my thing. I really like to have a conversation based on logic. I don't, we can both agree to disagree on a point, but as long as you have something logical to back it up, then that makes it all the more better for me to understand a person's point, where they're coming from. But when you're just standing there and actually, when these people argue belligerently online with these defense claims about how these movies are masterpieces and misconstrued, and the public just doesn't get what's going on, or whatever, that's just, I don't have patience or the time for that. So there was a few of those in the comments section there that were like, already bringing down bad vibes to the movie, all because the tonal direction was completely different from what they were used to. Well, it was about time. This movie, this and Aquaman and Wonder Woman were the three breaths of fresh air that this universe actually needed, because, like I said, it was crumbling on the launch pad. It was blowing up right on the launch pad. So with that being said, good job, DC. Hopefully we get some better content coming up shortly. I'm looking forward to more announcements on Swamp Thing, the series, because I know James Wan is behind it. So I'm expecting a very not just science fiction or sci-fantasy, but also horror elements into the show as well. You're gonna have to put. I think they're gonna have to put out another trailer for Titans for me to be fully sold on it. But what really, really conquered the con this weekend, surprisingly so, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Wow. What an epic trailer. If there was ever an epic trailer in life, that was a trailer of all trailers. Plus, Billie Jean King in the film. Wow, man. That trailer moved me to have man tears. That's how serious it was. It was just gorgeous. It was majestic. It was just beautifully shot. From the intro to Godzilla to the intro to Mothra, the shots, the indirect shots of Rodan, of course, and then of course the big badass of all, King Ghidorah, that we see the silhouette and shadows of. And I have a feeling there's another kaiju in the movie. I'm not too sure if it looked, because there was a shot where Billie Jean I think it's Billie Jean King, where she's looking towards the camera and there's like a window sill, and it almost looked like you caught a glimpse of a Gillis, but I'm not too sure if it was. But I'm pretty sure. But there is rumors that's been circulating that there are more monsters in this film than letting on. But it looks amazing. This is definitely the proper follow up to what Godzilla is, and is going to be proceeding and leading into Godzilla versus Kong. That I cannot wait for. The way these movies have been coming out has been nothing short of fantastic. And just like it's been, the color themes, the color schemes for the first Godzilla movie. If you remember the trailers for Godzilla 2014, like everything was done with a red hue going on. This one, the theme on this one was absolutely blue, and it was gorgeous. It looks great, and with the trailer finally closing in with that roar of Godzilla looking at the screen, and then the fighter jets from behind him coming from behind, flying ahead. It just looks fantastic. I cannot wait for next summer now, just because of Godzilla. 2019, I think, is going to be the year for films. Because not only do we have Infinity War closing, we have Shazam, we have others coming out. I still haven't checked out the trailer for Alita Battle Angel. The first one I did see, I did like it, and I was intrigued by the concept of it because it looks great. Me and my sci-fi noir. Plus, I'm not, as much as I am a fan of anime, as much as I just don't watch a lot of the shows as much as I should. But I just started watching Dragon Ball Super, so that's, a few episodes in deep to that in the first season. It's pretty cool, by the way. And very funny show, by the way, also. It's definitely a lighthearted show, but it was a great display for movies coming up in the next coming year for this past convention. So with that being said, I think it's gonna be a badass. It's gonna be a badass closeout for 2018, and the way 2019 is looking, it's gonna be super dope as far as these movies that are coming out. But Godzilla, to me, King of the Monsters took the cake, guys. To me, King of the Monsters took the cake. There's check out YouTube. There's a whole bunch of trailer mashup reaction videos that you guys can see. It's an amazing trailer. If you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. Do yourselves a favor. It's just the trailer alone is a visual feast. So with that being said, Also, I did find a great comic book website that I'm placing orders from. I'm going to be doing back to my weekly reviews, guys, so stay tuned for that. As I said before, I mentioned earlier in the episode for the Channel 3 Productions, special shout out to those cats, especially Pablo. We're going to be linking up pretty soon, working on some other things as well. But with that being said, I'm just going to close this episode out. I'm glad that you guys are still here. You know where the comment section is at. What was your favorite part of Comic-Con this weekend? Your favorite trailer, the favorite announcements? What were you looking forward to the most? Do you agree with my assessment of what's going on with the DCCU? I'm waiting to see what's going on, guys. Let's get this conversation started. It was a great convention as far as starting topics for discussions is concerned. So with that being said, I hope you guys are having a great week. I hope you guys have a greater weekend. Chill out, peace, and love, man. Take care.